Yo, what's good guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. So today we're reacting to another science video. It says we will fix climate change. Honestly, I don't know about that one, cause I don't know. I just hear a lot of stuff. I hear about icebergs breaking. I hear about everything. It's like crazy rumors out here. So I don't really know what to trust, but I know I can trust these videos. So, without further ado, let's watch.
Our home is burning. Rapid climate change is destabilizing our world. It seems our emissions will not fall quickly enough to avoid runaway warming, and we may soon hit tipping points that will lead to the collapse of ecosystems and our civilization. While scientists, activists, and much of the younger generation urge action, it appears most politicians are not committed to doing anything meaningful, while the fossil fuel industry still works actively against change. It seems humanity can't overcome its greed and obsession with short-term profit and personal gain to save itself. And so for many, the future looks grim and hopeless. Young people feel particularly anxious and depressed. Instead of looking ahead to a lifetime of opportunity, they wonder if they will even have a future or if they should bring kids into this world. It's an age of doom.
Honestly, I don't think that far. I'm just chilling right now. Like, whatever young person thinks about that is like, I don't know, you're out of your mind, bro. Like, come back in this century for now. Honestly, my thoughts about this is, climate change is bad, of course, but I don't know, I don't really talk a lot about this because there's nothing I can do. Like, I'm just a person. No one's gonna listen to me. It's like I'm just here, you feel me? I'm just watching stuff. But like, obviously, with no actual good fuel to power this world, it's hard, because fossil fuels, since 5th grade I've been hearing about this. Like, fossil fuels are bad. It's been a long time, and still hearing about the same problem, so it's crazy.
And hopelessness and giving up seems the only sensible thing to do. But that's not true. You are not doomed. Humanity is not doomed. Despite the seriousness of the situation, for years positive trends have accumulated, and there is finally some good news and a clear path towards our collective climate goals. Welcome to our TED Talk. Please watch this video to the end. Check out our detailed sources afterwards to learn more. Okay, let's start with the scariest things. Cancelling the apocalypse. Some of the most widely shared stories about climate change are that it is an existential threat, the end of human civilization, and maybe even our own extinction event, and that it's basically unavoidable now. But what does science actually say? As of 2022, the global average temperature has risen 1.2 degrees Celsius compared to pre-industrial times. Limiting warming to 1.5 degrees was the most...
It kind of makes sense for the temperatures to rise. I mean, you're not going to expect all these guys making nuclear bombs to still keep the temperature the same as 1800s. You feel me? Like, it's different. I mean, I kind of reason with the temperature rise, because it obviously won't stay the same unless we don't evolve. Because I don't know, with this evolution of technology, bro, they have the world has to be messed up in a way for humans to gain something, because they can't do it safely. You know how many places they test all these
ambitious
bombs?
goal of the Paris Agreement, but we are not likely to meet it. Already with the warming we have today, hot places will get hotter, wet places wetter, and the risk and strength of extreme weather events increase significantly.
Why can't we
Warming beyond 2 degrees makes all of these extremes more extreme. Extreme weather events more common, with more ecosystems under major pressure. Some will not survive. At 3 degrees, significant parts of Earth, especially in developing countries, might become unable to feed their populations. Heat waves will become a major global issue. Large-scale natural systems will break down. The scale and frequency of hurricanes, fires and droughts will further increase and cause trillions in damage.
This sounds
Poor
like
regions
what's
and
happening
subsistence
nowadays,
farmers will be
honestly.
hit the hardest. Hundreds of millions of people will need to leave their homes. In the 4 to 8 degree range, the apocalypse begins. The hothouse Earth, where things change so quickly that it may become unable to support our large human population and billions may perish, leaving the rest on a hostile alien planet.
Hold on. Yo, is the sun getting closer or is just Earth getting hotter? Because I mean, I feel like I hear about, you know how like they be, I don't know, I don't want to say customized, but they be like, these scientists, you know how they be growing crops out of nowhere. It's like they do it so, I don't know if, I don't know if they spray something in the ground and then the crops just start growing out of nowhere. It's like, I forgot what you call it. I forgot what you call it, but I feel like if they can customize the ground, it sounds like a video game or something, but like, because I see artificial grass all the time. Pretty sure they can make something in a way, because I mean, deserts will get hotter, makes sense, but if they can move all that water to the dry places, it'll change a lot.
A decade ago, for lack of action and perspective, many scientists assumed a 4+ degree world was our future, and a lot of public communication focused on exactly this future path. Luckily, it's much less likely that this version of the apocalypse will come to pass. If current climate policies stagnate, we're likely to end up with warming of around 3 degrees Celsius by 2100.
Oh,
Which is scary and tragic and far from acceptable. But this is actually good news.
yo, I hate myself for this, because like, I'm like, when I hear 2100 or like, you know, something with the above numbers, I'm like, yo, you know, I probably won't be alive, this and this. That's kind of messed up, because that means like I'm leaving the future to do it themselves. But yo, there is a chance I could be alive in 2100, because that'd mean I'd be almost 100 years old, something like that. But it's crazy. But like, honestly, bro, it's these scientists that it's up to them at
How?
this point.
In the last decade, we've seen enough progress that most scientists now think that we have likely avoided apocalyptic climate change. Although
No
substantial
way.
risk still remains, we can pretty confidently say that humanity isn't going anywhere. Civilization might have to change, but it will endure. Which begs the question,
I heard about the
what
moon,
has changed
so-
over the last 10 years, and is this really good news? The invisible shift. You probably know this story. The last decade has been an immense failure for climate policies around the world. Instead of passing comprehensive, binding bills that would meaningfully reduce emissions, we mostly did nothing. A lost decade with one negative record after another. And this story is true, and it's one reason why so many people are giving up. But it is not the whole picture. Despite the lack of climate policies and ongoing lobbying and misinformation campaigns from the fossil fuel industries, there was a lot of progress. Let's go back 20 years to see why today is so different. Between 2000 and 2010, greenhouse gas emissions had grown by 24%, 3 times as much as the increase in the previous decade. Subsidies for fossil fuels aimed at promoting economic growth caused a colossal increase in their consumption. For developing countries like China and India, coal was the cheapest fuel for growth, while rich countries showed little interest in changing their ways. In 2010, many people expected these trends to continue. Instead of decreasing fossil fuel use, its consumption would rise. The next
Bro.
decade turned
Yo, at this point, I don't even want to I don't, whenever I'm in school, I don't want teachers to come up talking about, oh, reusable sources, man, like, let's start this. Like, bro, if these guys aren't stopping, what's the point of using these sources? Because I feel like, because I hear about wind energy a lot, like, yo, let's do wind. It's renewable, it's free, this and this. But then you hear about windmills, you're like, we have to pay for those. They destroy land, this and this, and you're like, so what do we do? Because unless you guys are gonna make your own sun, that powers this world when the original sun is out. Uh, I don't think most of these new methods are gonna work, cause bro, coal and like all these fossil fuels and all these others, bro. Like I'm scared of them, but like that's what's keeping all these lights on, bro. Hey, it's temporary. It kind of feels good too. I'm not gonna lie. Like for the future, it's bad, but for now, it feels good for the people living in this period. I don't know. I can't say, man. I really can't come up with a solution. I, if I did, it'd sound like I'm crazy. Cause yeah. So let's just
Had to be
watch.
very different though. First of all, coal burning in developing countries like India has slowed down or leveled off, like in China. And it's
Bro,
plummeted
China
in
is
rich
just a
countries like the
walking
UK and
maze
US.
full of like everything.
Since 2015, 3/4 of planned coal plants have been cancelled and 44 countries have committed to stop building them. 10 years ago, that would have seemed like wishful thinking, but today we
Damn.
can say with confidence, coal is dying. It's just
No
not
way.
competitive anymore. Because technologies we thought would remain expensive matured rapidly instead. Renewable electricity has shown explosive progress. In a mere decade, wind energy got 3 times cheaper. Solar electricity is now 10 times cheaper.
No way.
Cheaper than coal or any other fossil fuel burning power plant, despite the massive subsidies and global infrastructure propping
I
up
hear a
fossil
lot
fuels.
about windmills though.
25 times more solar and nearly 5 times more wind electricity is produced today compared with 10 years ago, which is of course not nearly enough. One of the biggest obstacles is the variability of their power output. Renewables need a lot of energy storage to be a reliable power source,
That's
like
why I
expensive
said
batteries.
make your own sun.
Amazingly, battery prices have decreased by 97% in the past 30 years, 60%
Hold
in
on.
the last.
Bro, I keep hearing all these prices, but this is our world. Why not give it for free, bro? Who are you trying to buy these from? Why not just... Because I hear all these money, all this, like... Because I'm like, yo, if we're trying to save this world together, why do I need to pay? Why can't we just do it like, you give me what I need to save this world and this, and we'll be all happy at the end. We don't have to charge each other. Yo, but we're humans, so I understand, but the money part kind of, it's
decade
lame.
alone, which will serve all kinds of green technology like electric cars. You might say, well, that's great,
Tesla.
but didn't Kurzgesagt's last climate video say that while wind and solar are nice, we need nothing less than a fundamental transition of our global industrial system? Yes, but luckily the shift goes beyond just the energy sector. Throughout the economy, people are working on improving current technology to lower emissions. We're rapidly replacing old incandescent light bulbs with LEDs that are 10 times more efficient. In 2020, about 7 out of 10 new cars in Norway were electric or hybrid. In 2021, it was already 8 out of 10. And the list
Bro,
goes
I'm telling
on,
you,
from electric
Tesla
heating
is
and
the
better
future,
insulation
bro.
to ships traveling at half speed to save fuel. Wherever you look, you find scientists, engineers, and entrepreneurs trying to solve some aspect of climate change. Enormous amounts of human ingenuity are being brought to bear on this problem, with more and more people deciding to prioritize preventing rapid climate change. Solutions for low-carbon production of cement, electronics, and steel, and innovations like artificial meat and carbon capture are in the works. The more of these technologies we
The
deploy,
artificial
the cheaper
food isn't
new
as
and
good,
better
though.
technology
That's what I
gets.
heard. But it tastes the
The
same.
cheaper they get, the more
So,
people use
I'm not
them,
gonna complain.
and so on. We can see the impact already. The domestic CO2 output of rich countries is falling without a major recession. Since the year 2000, the EU as a whole shows a 21% decrease, Italy 28%, the UK 35%.
Yo, but aside from temperature, I mean from like using all these non-renewable sources, because climate change. I'm almost confusing this with global warming because I'm pretty sure pollution and all these like plastics all impact climate change still. I don't know if it's the same. I don't know. Okay, let's say all this pollution and plastic, all that impacts it. Cause I used to think like, yo, what if there's like a bacteria to eat plastic? Like that would be cool. Cause I hear plastic is a big problem nowadays. So Because if that was the thing, that would be so cool. Cause bro, plastic is crazy. Cause when sea life dies, I'm pretty sure that also impacts this. Cause I hear a lot about turtles swallowing plastic and this. But hey, save the turtles.
Denmark 43%. But the best news may be that emissions are no longer necessarily coupled with economic growth. In the past, this was an inconvenient truth. To get richer, you had to emit more, which led to fierce arguments between developing and developed countries about the fairness of reducing emissions while their populations were still poor. But in the last decade, we've seen that it is possible to increase prosperity without increasing emissions. Emissions in the Czech Republic dropped 13%, while their GDP grew by 27%. France reduced their CO2 emissions by 14%, while increasing GDP by 15%. Romania saw an 8% decrease and 35% growth. And even the largest economy on Earth, the USA, decreased emissions by 4% while growing their GDP by 26%.
A lot, even though it sounds little.
Some of you may call this a numbers trick, that rich countries are just exporting emissions to poorer nations by moving the dirty parts of their economies like manufacturing. But even when we account for all of our imported goods, the numbers still look positive. It's no longer a matter of having to choose between prosperity and the climate, as it seemed to be a decade ago. Developing countries will profit from that because as rich countries pay for the expensive development of green technologies, they can adopt them more cheaply. They can skip most of the high emission phase that today's rich countries went through. We are at the point where not decarbonizing is a bad business decision. And we haven't even really talked about solutions like carbon capture. In 2000, it didn't really exist. In 2022, that technology does exist and costs around $600 to remove 1 ton of CO2 from the atmosphere.
Yeah, but there's
as investment pours in and the technology matures and begins to scale, it's likely that these costs will plummet over the next few decades.
That's cool.
So everything's fine then? Well, let's not get carried away. All of these processes are great, but not nearly fast enough. We're still doing way too little, and technology will not magically solve everything. We need to use fewer resources and use them longer, design consumer goods that are repairable and durable, and decrease our energy requirements. We need much better infrastructure, agriculture, and cities. It will still be hard work, especially to get the right policies passed.
Yo, but this pretty much affects only most rich countries, because you're not gonna tell this to undeveloped countries like, yo, climate change, bro. This guy's gonna look at you like, yo, I'm trying to make a couple dollars a day, bro. What does climate change mean to me? You feel me? So I'm pretty sure like this is just because, I mean, it's mainly rich nations that make the world a bad place. But hey, there's some undeveloped countries that are also like terrible in pollution and all this. So I don't know, man. I just hope one day, bro, like it happens for the whole world, because this sounds like his policies. You don't hear a lot of third world countries talking about policies, so yeah, I don't know.
Enact it. But for the first time ever, there are a few trend lines pointing solidly in the right direction. And now imagine if all of this was achieved without proper financial and political support, and despite fossil fuel lobbying. Just think what humanity can do when climate change finally gets the political attention and funding it needs. So is it okay to feel hopeful again? The situation is still dire and serious, so what's the point of focusing on this side of the story?
This is only the good news. I'm pretty sure if you did like a video on
climate change can feel overwhelming and make your future seem bleak. The sadness and hopelessness that many people feel is real and very destructive because it causes apathy. Apathy that is only serving the fossil fuel industry, that is still delaying change however it can. In a sense, they have weaponized hopelessness. We are now in Phase 4 in the public debate about rapid climate change action. Phase 1 was, climate change is not real. Phase 2 was, climate change is real, but not caused by humans. Phase 3 was, climate change may be caused by humans, but it's not that bad. Phase 4 is, climate change is no longer avoidable. We are doomed, and it doesn't matter what we do. If we want the world to change, we first need to believe that change is possible. and we have an abundance of evidence that it is. Changes to our industrial system are gaining momentum. Technology gets better and cheaper. Climate change has become a key issue in most free elections. As more and more younger people move into influential positions, they prioritize climate change and work on new solutions. In 2022, most governments not only acknowledge it, but set their own net zero goals in democratic and autocratic countries. The results of years of fighting a steep uphill battle are now clearly visible.
Yo, I mean, like, what's his name? The Elon dude, bro. He like with his like electric powered like I don't know companies, crazy. I'd be feeling like if all products on Earth were with electricity like that, it would be pretty sure climate change would be solved. But you know, I'm not really like cause bro, people are crazy, man. For money, these guys are like, yo, climate change is not real. I mean, cause I used to hear that a lot, and then, but when they said it's not caused by human, that's funny. That's just funny. Whoever makes these up is crazy. It's crazy, bro. Just imagine like sitting in a chair. You know, money's coming in everywhere. You're like, yeah, bro, it's not real. You're making more money, and then you die, bro. Cause after you die, like it's left to the people on Earth to solve your problems. Cause you can't solve anything when you're dead. So I'm just like, But yo, honestly, good luck to Earth on it, because I mean I see a lot of ways, and then I hear about a lot about solar, but then sometimes it's like it's kind of overrated, because like whenever the sun's out, you're kind of doomed unless you have generators and all this and this. So hey, I don't know, I just want the world to be a better place someday.
The pressure needs to keep increasing to make sure that the promises made today are actually kept. Climate doomerism is the equivalent of giving up, even though you can still prevent not just the worst case, but also mitigate most of the bad things, make changes in time to adapt better, and prevent the poorest from suffering. That is why hopelessness and apathy are so dangerous. If the last, in many ways, wasted decade has shown anything, then it's that progress is being made, and that dire scenarios are just predictions, not our sealed fate. As of 2022, based on current global policies, we will end up in a 3 degrees world.
Yeah, these
now
guys
it's our job to
manipulate
yet
us every
again
time,
prove the
man.
predictions wrong, despite how serious and urgent things are. To turn that 3 degrees into a 2 degrees and then see where we can go from there. For that, we need hope. And we hope we gave you that today, at least a little. That you feel that things are serious, but also that you have a future. That you can have kids without dooming them or the world. That taking action today is worth it. And that despite powerful industries doing everything to delay it, society is changing. If you need a more concrete roadmap of what you can do personally, we're working on a follow-up video to talk about that in greater detail.
Oh, okay.
Doomerism, inactivity, and weaponized hopelessness are the only trump cards left for the powers that don't want change. Don't let them
bro,
win.
these guys are so manipulative, man. Be feeling like
We're still
every time
excited
you hear
about the future, and
the
we think one of the
iceberg
best
fell,
things
bro.
you can do to keep your optimism and curiosity up is to learn new things. If you don't know where to start, our friends from Brilliant.org have got you covered. Brilliant makes maths and science accessible and fun with a hands-on approach.
That is crazy, bro. Hey, I'm happy that there's hope, but like, you know, for my generation at least, I'm kind of set. Like, unless the world ends in 2 years, then yeah. But like, see, like I said, it's bad to think that way. Like, oh, it doesn't affect me. Why should I care? Hey, but yo, I'm chilling. And I'm sure they'll do it, cause, bro, this tech is crazy. And then you got the Elon Musk dude with all these electronics. He's crazy. I think he'll do it. But yeah, if you made it this far, thank you and have a nice day.